One.
So, Jen Smith, you are here. There's quite a few people. The gallery of the court was filled to capacity. Tell the Culture Guard audience what went down today. I can tell you, before I'm going to even let you speak, your presentation to the court was beyond amazing. It was historical in nature, and I know if everybody could have given you a round of applause, the place would have erupted, but we also know we would have gotten in trouble with the judge. So from your perspective, what went down today?
Well, I think at least we won't know until it's over, but my impression was that I at least got the judge's attention and raised some facts that previously have not been raised, and presented the fact that these doctors thus far have been hiding behind the court. And on the other side, like as long as they're getting positive attention, they will take in that positive attention. But the moment the consequences of what they are doing with these kids comes out to the public and makes them look bad, suddenly they want to hide. So my argument basically was that, listen, they are advocating for public policy changes and stuff. They need to be open to full scrutiny from the other side of the debate, which is me and yourself and others. So they can't basically make themselves look good, and the moment someone criticizes their worst parts, say we need protection from the court. So that was one of the big things. And I also talked about the fact that this can't be framed in the context of being just about one family. It's about so much more than that. It's about every family. So
and as you always talk about, the vulnerable children within the Ministry of Children and Families.
Exactly, and that's my background. I tried to make that clear to the judge too, that because I was awarded the state in British Columbia and went through 6 different homes, that I understand what it is to be a vulnerable, rejected child, and the urge to want to have a new life and a new identity, and the fact that these kids, in my opinion, are being preyed upon, and we need to protect these kids. We need to protect all kids. And what is happening right now, that's like I cited the numbers, like autism and these types of numbers, that it's kids with emotional and psychological problems that are falling for that. This needs to be investigated. I've been calling for provincial and national inquiries for a year now, and we need this, at the very least, inquiries.
So one of the surprises was this morning when we walked in, the lawyers for the child admitted that they did not have instructions to proceed with a contempt proceeding. So the whole case is a little bit weird now. So what authority are these lawyers proceeding with? This seems to be uncharted territory on some fronts.
Well, that's what I said to the judge. I said that, okay, so you're complaining about what the father is doing when he's talking here, but you don't want to press charges against him for contempt. So why even have the publication ban in place? Why not just let him talk? And you can actually save the court system money by not dragging him into court constantly when they're not really wanting to do anything about these breaches anyway. And he has shown an unwillingness to be silent. So just lift the darn ban, I say.
Well, what was interesting to me sitting and listening to this exchange and these amazing points that you were raising is all through this we have been operating under the guise of the child's best interest, what the child wants, how we need to bend over backwards to protect the interests of the child. Now the child says, I don't want to proceed with contempt charges, and the lawyers that are supposed to be representing the child say, oh, but wait a minute, we're officers of the court, we have a duty. Now not so much to the child, but to the rule of law and all the rest of it. The hypocrisy in the morning session was just so overwhelmingly obvious. It kind of makes a farce out of these proceedings.
Well, I think one of the things that I think was most important that I really wanted to raise was the fact that we have our judicial system right now forcing its citizens to speak lies. And this needs to be addressed, and it needs to be addressed substantively.
Hold on, because even the police don't want you to make this point. The joys of downtown Vancouver shooting live interviews, you guys. Okay. You were raising probably the most crucial point of your presentation, although I don't want to minimize your presentation because there were a lot of crucial points, but the fact that the court is requiring people to now lie.
Right, and so I said to the judge that, okay, so on its face, if we look at the Bowden order, which I think has caused this popular outrage, on its face it appears that the court is forcing a father to speak a lie, namely that his daughter is a son. And that is a very dangerous precedent to get into, because if you can force one lie, you can of course, many other lies as well. Furthermore, I promised myself if I ever got into a court, like I am today, that I would push the issue of definitions. Okay, so if they want to say that...
And you did.
Yeah.
Very well.
Yeah, if they want to say that they're not forcing the father to speak a lie, the only way they can do that is by getting into the definition of what a man is, what a woman is, what a girl is, what a boy is.
Male, female.
Gender, sex, the difference between all these things. And I said the court needs to address these definitions and ask itself whether or not it is appropriate to be forcing citizens to speak lies. And I said that we've got all of these good people right now who are violating court orders. So why are they? And I said it's because they've lost respect for the court. So the justice system, I would say this judge has a duty to return integrity and respect to the court by ceasing and desisting forcing people to speak lies.
So one of the other issues that you raised that seemed to particularly capture the judge's attention is the amount of publicity that one of the doctors that has protection under the publication ban is seeking, and making no bones about being in public, publishing books, appearing on television. Certainly that captured the judge's attention, because the two, oh, I'm fearful, I need a publicity ban, and oh, here I am, I want to publish a new book. They don't jive.
Right. I mean, like, basically, if he is somebody who's a doctor who's promoting transitioning, medical transitioning of young kids, which he is, he's going to receive negative criticism, whether it's whether he does it willingly or unwillingly. So all he's really doing in this case is saying, I don't want my worst, like the worst consequences of my actions to be covered, but everything else you can cover. Like, as long as you're singing my praises and throwing roses at me, that's perfect.
So I can say I have spent hundreds, if not thousands, of hours in courts, different cases involving family law, involving parental rights, all kinds of issues. And I have never in all my years witnessed such a powerful presentation in the court. And I just want to say thank you on behalf of parents, on behalf of the children especially. And I would like to think in helping the courts understand better this very, very serious issue. The judge took note, and you are to be commended and congratulated. All right, so we're not finished yet. You're back tomorrow.
Back tomorrow morning, and it'll be interesting too, because they've made a lot of comments in their response that I need to respond to.
So what is at stake right now is you've made an application to lift the ban, especially the ban protecting these doctors. I think you're going to get something. I think you're going to get a piece of it. But we'll report back tomorrow, everybody. Go home, get some sleep. Oh no, don't sleep. Put all those timelines to work, Jen.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, everybody. We'll check in tomorrow.